Hello students, I am very glad today that I am going to interact with you through this video. And today students I am going to teach you 7th English a poem, The Arrow and the Song, which is written by H.W. Longfellow. So students, without any kind of delay, move towards our main point.
Students, before starting this poem, we will see about the poet. Students, the Arrow and the Song, this poem written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He was born on February 27, 1807 in Portland, Maine, United States. He was a very famous American poet, students, and educator too. He was very famous writing lyrics poem. Anyway, students, he had written many volumes of poems, students, in the history of literature. He had also written many stories of mythology and legends. Students, move toward the next point, that is about the poem. Students, move about the poem. It will help you to understand the whole poem. The Arrow and the Song describes how harsh words can ruin friendships and good feelings can strengthen, make strong relationship. Students, here poet says that harsh words can destroy your friendships. Students, if you speak a cruel words, a bad words with your friends, definitely you can destroy your friendships. Your cruel words will be cause of destroy your friendship. While good feelings can strengthen, make strong your relationship, students. It means, students, your good communications, your soft words, your politeness will make strong your relationship. So will be very better to avoid cruel words, abusing words, and use good words, polite words while speaking in your language. H.W. Longfellow, who says that just as an arrow once shot cannot be taken back, hurtful words also cannot be taken back, students, here. You know, at once, arrow shot, it cannot be taken back. As the same way, hurtful words cannot be taken back, students. If you abused to your friend, the abusing words you cannot taken back. Okay, students. So avoid hurtful words, which will hurt others' mind, which will hurt your relations. So will be better, students, avoid these kinds of words from your dictionary. Sometimes we utter cruel words, knowingly and unknowingly, students. You know, knowingly and unknowingly you use a cruel words, utter cruel words, and after you forget it, but you don't know that what will be effect of your cruel words later on. It can destroy your good relations, your bonding relations from 20 years or more than 20 years. So it will be very better to forget using this kind of words while speaking. However, these words can have a lasting damage and spoil relationships forever. Students, here these words can have a lasting permanent damage, students, and spoil relationship forever. It is a permanent damage and spoil relationship, students, here. If you use these kinds of words, these words can have a permanent damage and spoil your relationships forever. On the other hand, students, here a song which represents soft and pleasant actions which can warm a friend's heart and strengthen the bounds of a relationships. Students, here the poet who compare two things in this poem. The first is arrow, the arrow which stands for destructions, as the same song which represents stands for softness, soft and pleasant actions. So here song represents soft and pleasant actions which can warm a friend's heart and strengthen, make strong the bonds of relationship, students. So that's why here the poet is telling to us that please avoid these cruel words which can make your life, your relations spoil. Okay, so here poet says that use always soft and polite words while using with your friends, with your family. So this is message from H.W. Longfellow through his poem. Move towards the poem, students. So before explanations of this poem, so I would like to read the poem. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow it in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has the sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak tree, I found the arrow still unbroken. And the song from beginning to end I found again in the heart of a friend. So, students, these are the beautiful lines of the poem. So, students, let's move towards the explanations of this stanza. So, gradually, I will explain the one stanza. So, move towards the first stanza here. Students, move to the first stanza of this poem. I shot an arrow into the air, it fell to earth, I knew not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow it in its flight. Students, here in this poem, the poet Longfellow, who begins by comparing two forms of actions, which represented by an arrow and a song. So here, students, in these four lines, the poet is talking about the arrow, which he shot from his arrow, and which swiftly flew in the air. He is not sure, students, where it fell on the ground, because it was fast and swift, and that's why he could not follow its flight. Students, here Longfellow, who introduced symbolism within an arrow. The arrow is often compared to something bad or negative, even though the poem is joyful. Basically, students, the arrow which represents violence, hate, harsh judgment, rumors, etc. of human nature. Students, here the poet who is shooting the arrow into the air means that he puts his own negativity and judgment out into the world. Students, as I told you that the arrow is often compared to something bad or negative, it means that here the arrow is symbolic to something which could cause destructions and would leave damage behind here, students. That's why the poet who conveys a very powerful message to us by showing the hurt and pain that can be caused by bitter words. So here one has to be very careful in speech while speaking his words. And one should never utter harsh words that can make a hole into the heart of the listener like an arrow. You know, students, the arrow, if you throw the arrow, whatever that your directions is, directly it makes hole on the particular directions. As the same way, students, your words also destructive, which can also make a hole into your heart and which can destroy your bonding, your relations can be destroyed here, students, only because of your bitter words. So that is why here a poet says that, Longfellow says that one has to be very careful in speech and never utter harsh words which can destroy your words, your relations, your family. So students, move to the next stanza of this poem. Students, move to the second stanza of this poem. I breathed a song into the air, it fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has a sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Students, here the poet is now speaking about a song that he sung in the open woods. Students, here the poet Longfellow who introduced a second piece of symbolism while he is breathing a song into the air. Here the song is well known to represent positivity. We have seen that the arrow, that is negativity, and the song, it is positivity. And so here, students, it represents positivity as well, represents words of friendships and comfort that bring joy to the listener. As well, students, it is quite the opposite of the arrow because the song brings a free from trouble and brings peace in the human mind. Peace in the human mind. And however, similar to the arrow, the song disappears off to the place unknown as well. Here, poet also says that he found the song from beginning to end in the heart of friend long afterwards. Here, he wants the readers to realize that words that are spoken in friendship and joy are never forgotten. Kind words that heal and comfort are remembered forever, long afterward they are uttered. Like a song which echoes in the mind of listener students long after it is heard no more. Words that give moral or emotional strength and bring happiness and comfort are cherished in the heart of friends who hear them, students. So here the words are recalled to give joy and not a single one is forgotten. Students, here the poet has explained in the second stanza the positivity. Here, positivity, friendships bounding in the second stanza. That here song which represent positivity, which represents comfort, friendships, and which brings joy of happiness, okay, among the listeners. So in this way we have completed the second stanza, students, here. So let's move to the third stanza, that is last stanza of this poem. Students, move to the last stanza of this poem, that is third stanza. Long afterward in an oak. Oak means, students, it is kind of a oak tree. I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song from beginning to end I found again in the heart of a friend. Students, the poet here remembers about his actions long afterwards this, as the time passes by. He finds that the cruel words that he had spoken to someone had left an impact and was still present there. Students, listen that. If you speak a cruel words with your friend, with your family, students, they will never forget. There will be definitely impact of your words to another people. Okay, students. So here, which was still present there. So what's about song? But the song that he had sung, or the friendly and the kind things that he had done, were found embraced in the heart of a dear friend, even after a long time had passed away. Students, here. Students, this is a very beautiful poem written by Henry Longfellow. Students, the theme of this poem is that maintain relationships while using a polite language, polite manner. So students, in this way we have completed the three stanza of this poem. So next point we will discuss in that poetic devices in this poem. So move to the next point of this poem. Students, move to the last point, that is very important point, that is a poetic devices of this poem of the arrow and the song. Students, the first devices of this poem, that is imagery. The imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. Each and every poet, students, he or she shows imagery in his poem in order to give the pleasure to the readers. Okay, so here Longfellow has used the imagery in the poem. For example, I shot an arrow into the air. You know that you will, picture will come before you. I shot an arrow into the air. Imaginary pictures will come before you. Okay, at that time your sense will create. Okay, you will make sense. You will try to analyze yourself how it will be and how that arrow, how the poet that he shot an arrow into the air. Imaginary pictures. I found the arrow still unbroken. Next, it fell to earth, I knew not where. So, students, these all are the kinds of imagery. Next point, move towards the next point, that is, students, quatrain. A quatrain is a 4-line stanzas borrowed from Persian poetry. Here, each stanza is a quatrain. Students, if you see your stanza, so each stanza has 4 lines. So it is called that a quatrain, 4 lines stanza. Okay, so here it has the 4 lines and it is called that a quatrain. So in our poem, every stanza has 4 lines. Next point, rhyming words. Students, you know rhyming words. It is called that rhyme words. And rhyme is used to make this stanza very melodious, students. Such as, for example, here, air, where, sight, flight, strong song, friend, end. So these are called the rhyming words, rhyme schemes. Next point, that is a rhyme scheme, students. The rhyme scheme is different than rhyming words. So first of all, we should know the rhyming words, and later you will come to know the how the arrange the rhyming scheme. Okay. So group of this stanza. Rhyming scheme, the poem follows, in this poem, students, I am talking about in this poem. This poem has rhyme schemes follows AABB. The poem follows the AABB rhyme scheme throughout the poem. So students, these were the poetic devices of this poem. In the next video, students, I will discuss with you exercise and some other topic of this poem. So have a nice day and take care, students. Goodbye.